Hey, I'm back. Sorry about that, guys. Hi, happy full moon in Leo, everybody. I'm fashionably late like a Leo. I'm sorry. I've been having some technical difficulties. It's in alignment with Mercury Retrograde. So I'm going to wait for some of you to show up. We are vibing to the beautiful Rihanna song. My guides channeled this song to me while I was getting ready. So yeah, sorry guys, the technology is not my fault. I think Mercury retrograde is already affecting my phone here. Sorry. Hi guys, hi again. How are you guys feeling? So it's a full moon. We've been feeling this energy, I think, for the last few days. I've been feeling it, definitely. I want to know how you guys are doing before we jump in. Are you feeling a lot of fire? Because there's not much fire in the cosmos right now. It's just one planet, one placement, the moon, is in Leo. And, well, everything else is in Aquarius. And it's an air sign. And it's completely different. It's a completely different vibe from the last few years where we've had only Capricorn in the air. And Capricorn is heavy. It's dense. It's all about self-preservation and how to survive in this world. But now we're in Aquarius. So now we're not only talking about or thinking about or shining a light on ourselves, we are creating space for others. And in order to open up and bring people in, well, we got to kind of know who we are. And that's the Leo energy, I feel like, that we need to step into a little bit more Leo, because a lot of us tend to dim our light. And that is the opposite of Leo. That's pretty much the axis of Leo is Aquarius. So when we're looking at, a sign, we always have to look to its opposite sign. So that's why Aquarius is really, really heavy in the sky right now, because it's all about shifting the collective consciousness. It's all about upgrading the energy. And a lot of us are not used to that. We're used to staying, comfortable in this Capricornian energy where everything was very predictable. So how are you guys feeling? I have a good 7 of you here with me. So welcome. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm sorry I was a little bit late. I know a lot of you that are here, so I really want to thank you guys for being here, for showing up. A lot of my clients are here, so thank you so much, guys. So if you are a client of mine, you know that you have your chart in front of you, and well, the first thing you want to do is look at where is Leo in your chart. That's where this full moon is transiting. It's transiting that aspect, that house of your life, that facet. So this is why it's important for us to look at the rising sign, because that's how the chart is built. It's built from your rising sign. So yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit about all the signs, but you can also listen for your sun sign. It'll give you maybe another perspective of what's to come. But the rising sign is what we see in the chart. So yes, I'm an Aries sun, for example, but my chart starts at the first house in Virgo. My rising is Virgo. So that's how I'll know where to look for Leo. All right. So, hey, I'm just going to say hi to everybody here. Thank you for being here. So you guys are feeling tired and heavy. I absolutely feel that energy too. I actually go through spurs of energy, because that's the Aquarius energy. It's like, it's connected to the crown chakra, and it's very connected to Uranus, which is lightning and breakthroughs, and it's activating our connection to the higher realm. So we're really feeling it with our nervous system. It affects the nervous system, really. That's what Aquarius energy is. So the more, we push, the more we'll feel a little bit more tired at this point, but it's because we're trying to keep up with the energies that are continuously, hitting our nervous system. So this is why it's important to take breaks and to, get grounded. I found myself having to ground like many, many times today, or else it's just like everything is up in the air, and it's like, okay, call back your energy, right? Call back your spirit. Hey Jay, you're back with us. Yay. Okay, yeah, I know you have a client appointment. So you'll watch the replay. I'll put this on my IGTV, God willing, if the spirit guides are willing, you know, to share this with you guys. I always leave it up to the guides. Whatever they want will happen. So yeah, you guys, let's talk about this full moon. Gosh, it's interesting. It's the first full moon of the year. January was a 6-month in astronumerology, so it's Venus. Venus is the goddess. It's the divine feminine energy. We've been feeling those divine feminine codes come in, and by codes I mean, you know, feelings. A code is a feeling. A download is information. It's something that's being presented to you in your life, whether that be someone in the physical realm or just a feeling. You're feeling a type of way, you're getting triggered, or you're thinking about someone, or someone is now in your awareness and you're thinking about someone that is not even in your life really, but they serve, or this person or this thing or whatever it's showing up serves a purpose, because we have been trying to realign with the heart space. So the divine feminine is all about connecting to that side of us that is more compassionate. So, you know, in order to be compassionate with others, we got to be compassionate with ourselves. It's all about healing. So it's very yin. So the more we push harder, and you've noticed in January, the more we've been pushing harder, the more it's difficult, because the yin, the feminine energy, is saying, come back to the body, come back to the present, you know? So that's January. We have another few days left, and then we have Mercury Retrograde starting on January 30th. So there's just a lot of stuff going on. But moving into February is going to be a number 7 month, and 7 is a beautiful number if we learn how to really cultivate the relationship we have with spirit. 7 is related to spirituality, to the connection that we have to our guides, to our higher self, to the signs that we're getting on a daily basis. And so the lower vibration of that would be, I'm disconnected and I'm escaping and I'm retreating and I feel isolated and I'm playing the victim, like there's nobody out there that can help me or that I can connect with. So it's you know, you have to look at where you stand, because 7 is connection with the divine. So the more you connect with the divine, the better, because there's going to be, you know, this shock value to the month of February. There's a lot of squares to Uranus. So I'll get into the astrology. So hi, Rhonda. Hi, Sabby. How are you guys doing? Thank you so much for joining us. So I'm going to talk a little bit about all of this. So yeah, it's a full moon, right? We've been in it since, I believe, 2:49 a.m. Eastern time. We're still in it. Full moons, or the moon stays in a sign for 2 days and a half. So every 2 days and a half, the sign of the moon changes. So Leo is here to stay for the next few days, but it is carrying more of this Aquarius vibe. So when we look at Leo in your chart, you have to look at what's happening on the opposite end. Aquarius. So is there anything happening in the Aquarius section, in the house of Aquarius in your chart? This is what will reveal a lot of what's coming up in the month of February, because we are going to have at least 5 planets in Aquarius. So let's talk about this. So what does it look like and what does it feel like? Well, it's for me, when I tune into the moon and when I tune into the energies, it's very electric. Like I said from the beginning of this live, it really does hit our nervous system. So we really need to start learning how to ground a little bit more. Now, the higher octave to Aquarius is this, you know, this humanitarian. It wants to connect, but it also, it's kind of detached. Aquarius is an air sign. It's not the most affectionate, and, you know, it likes to have a lot of friends. It likes to connect with all kinds of people, but with the purpose of connecting to a higher realm. So we want to connect with people in our life that serve a purpose and that resonate with our values and that resonate with our goals. So here, Mercury retrograde is really is this overarching presence in this full moon. It's taking up a lot of space because, well, in 2 days, it's fully going to be retrograde. So we've been in the pre-shadow, and this happens 2 weeks before it stations retrograde. And then we have a post-shadow 2 weeks after the retrograde. So we already start feeling the themes that are coming up that we're going to have to deal with during the retrograde. So maybe take a look and go within and see what's been going on in the last 2 weeks. That's pretty much, those are the cards that have been laid on the table for you. Like what am I going to have to deal with? Retrograde. So when Mercury goes into retrograde, and it really has a bad rap, right? Because people think that everything is like going to get destroyed and disrupted. I mean, there is that side of retrogrades, the Mercury especially, where there's a communication breakdown with people when you're dealing with people. There's a lot of misunderstandings, like they didn't get the message. Even technology has its issues, its glitches. And it also brings up a lot of things from the past. So maybe you're going to have a conversation with someone from your past, or someone from your past, you know, all of a sudden you're on their mind, and you know, it's that energy. It's very telepathic energy with Mercury retrograde. So with this retrograde, 2 days away from this full moon, it really brings that energy in like strongly. So maybe that's another reason why we're feeling really tired, because now we're having to really go within. Retrogrades are very yin. We need retrogrades to survive on planet Earth, because without retrogrades, we won't be able to take really this break and going in. It's an internal process, the retrograding. We have to review and we have to look at things over again in order to figure out, am I going in the right direction? Is this the right person for me? Is this the right job for me? Is this the right project for me? Is this, you need that time. So maybe things will get delayed and you will feel frustrated for some who are always, wanting to find answers quickly. And so that's where you'll constantly be tested, by the universe, and it'll give you signs to slow down and go within, take some time to maybe listen to this song. Like, you have to really pay attention to what's coming up for you, to what's being brought up in your awareness. So the Mercury retrograde here is, so let's talk about Aquarius a little bit more. So Aquarius is it's a fresh new perspective. It's unique in its energy. If we can tap into quantum energy, this is a good time when you're really tapping into the higher realms. You're connecting with your star family. You're connecting with, those higher realms up there. It's a visionary, it's future oriented. We're talking about hopes and dreams of the future, but in order to create a future, we need to kind of look at what's been going on, right? It's a visionary. It wants to experience and connect, but it's also very detached. The lower vibration it's cold. It's kind of, when you have someone in their chart that has a lot of Aquarius energy, they're kind of aloof. They're kind of cold, and not in a bad way. It's just they need to disconnect in order to connect. I have a Venus in Aquarius, so that's the planet of relationships. It's how I relate to people. It's not that I am mean. It's just I kind of feel like I need to disconnect a little bit and have my own me time and my own, my own world, so that I can really come back and feel connected to you. So it's really the alien of the zodiac. It's awkward. So this is how you're feeling. You're feeling a little awkward. It's new energy. It's something you've never experienced in your life. And it's not your comfort zone. So it's really the opposite of being in our comfort zones. It's very detached. So yes, it is about community. It is about looking for the right people, the right friendships, the right groups. It's social networking. It's looking at if these people are really a part of are resonating with our truth. And this is what Leo is. So Leo here wants to shine, wants to take up space, which is great. That's the higher version of Leo. Leo wants to really express itself. And I feel like a lot of people need to tap into more Leo energy, because it's the inner child that's just dying to get out there and have its platform. And we're not using our platform to gain attention, right? Because that's the lower energy of Leo. When you're using lower energy, it means that you want attention and you want likes and you want followers and you want this and you want people to love you. But what the higher version of Leo is saying is, I'll use my platform for the better of society, so I can help and reach people, my audience, who needs to hear my messages. So basically, think about who's your audience during this time. Who is witnessing you during this time? Those are the people that you're gonna have to figure out, okay, are they worth it? Are they worthwhile? Are they in alignment with my truth and where I'm going? So that is a little bit of the Aquarius energy. It's also about, it's like that mad scientist, you know. There's also the Saturn in Aquarius here we're looking into science here, and it's bringing up the darker side of technology and of medicine. So it is a little bit scary and awkward and like, okay, where are we going with all this on a global scale? So then we have Saturn. So I'm going to talk about a little about the difficult stuff that's going on, because it's not just a full moon. There's a lot happening, besides just the full moon. There's Saturn that's being squared to Uranus and Mars. And so Saturn here is like, okay, I have all this, I have these visions from Aquarius, and I want to, put all this work into what I want to, bring about as my vision. But now I'm being squared. I'm being blocked. I'm being blocked by Uranus, who's one of the rulers of Aquarius, and Mars in Taurus. So it's kind of saying, okay, we're going to throw in some curveballs. Uranus, when you see Uranus, blocked in your chart, it means either you're someone who's really rebellious and you don't like to be told what to do. And I feel like a lot of people right now are kind of rebelling against people telling them what to do, right? So you might feel like that in your own personal life. Don't tell me what to do, right? Because you're stepping into your Aquarius energy and you're like, okay, now I know I have a vision of where I'm going and what I need, and now I'm being blocked. So there's like these curveballs, these stressors that can come up for you in your personal life, obstacles, delays, a lot of unexpected stuff that can come up in the next few weeks. So pay attention, because whatever comes up is a gift. It's a test, but it's allowing you to really look at what needs your attention. What do you need to review here? So because there's a lack of water and fire, it's hard for us to feel good, like motivated, because fire is motivation, it's passion, it's enthusiasm. So we're like just lacking a little bit of fire. Like there's no fire at all. There's a lot of air, but no fire. There's a bit of earth too. So we're just like, okay, we're having to always think. And remember, in one of my stories, I mentioned that 2021 is a 5 year. So 5 is ruled by, the Mercury, and it's very mercurial. We're always in our head. There's a lot of anxiety. So when we are looking at this big block to the moon here, it's like we're needing to liberate ourselves. We're needing to break away from something. We're needing to try something different, something that doesn't feel boring, that doesn't feel like people or something is trying to control us in that way. Because Aquarius is very progressive, but it's also inclusive. So it's, like I said, it wants to connect, but it wants people, you want to be a part of a group, but at the same time, you want your own voice. So, but in order to connect, we need to detach here. We need to detach from people, from patterns, from expectations, from experiences that don't serve us. So there's a lot of cord cutting, I would say, that's going to happen during the next few weeks, especially in February. So it's very fast energy. So you're just going to have to learn how to ground and really tune in to the body constantly and really communicate with your guides, because the energy is really, like, the veil is very thin. It's not as thick as it used to be back in the day. So when we're looking at Mercury retrograde, so this is what I'm going to take a bit of time doing now. I'm going to go through all the 12 signs. So you're going to listen for you can listen for your sun, but it's really the rising sign that's important here, because that's what shows up in your chart. So when we're looking at this Mercury retrograde, it's in Aquarius, right? We also have to look at the fact that whatever happens in your chart, it's butting heads because these are fixed signs. Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius are all fixed signs, and they all square each other in your chart. And as you saw, there's a lot of Uranus, Mars, and Taurus that's squaring Saturn. So there's, oh, okay, we're butting heads a little bit. So Taurus brings in that energy of, okay, I'm butting heads with somebody or something, and it's my way or your way, my way versus your way. It's okay, we got to find a way to find a middle ground. Then we got Leo, which brings the flavor of drama, the child that acts up, right? That's the inner child that wants attention. And then there's the ego flares with Leo, right? Leo doesn't like rejection. Leo wants attention, wants to be adored. So there's that flavor. And then we have Scorpio, the last fixed sign here, which brings in control, manipulation, power struggles, power plays, secrets, trauma. Because remember, Scorpio is a very deep sign. So it's like we're really diving deep into what we've been ignoring here. And it's all about transformation. So all this darkness, if you are feeling like, oh, I'm really having to go through this traumatic experience, or maybe I have to go back to that traumatic experience and kind of understand it a little bit more, it's all happening for a reason. So you can uproot it and bring it up to the light so it can be healed. That's how you transform. You don't transform by just pushing down your problems, pushing down your pain, right? So I feel like by the end of this Mercury retrograde, which will be finished by the end of February, but then again, there's that shadow phase, right? So by March, you'll feel a little bit lighter. So yeah, the Scorpio here is really about the shadow work that's going to come up. So wherever Scorpio is in your chart, how it's being activated with the Taurus and the Uranus is where you'll feel a little bit like, oh, I got to do a little bit more shadow work here. So it's bringing something new to be seen. You're also leveling up. The more you look at the darker shadows, the better you'll feel at the end of the day. So what else am I talking about here? So Mercury will, it's also going to bring up this flavor of impulsivity, explosive reactions. It's interacting with Jupiter, so Jupiter can bring things out of proportion and exaggerate. So maybe you're going to deal with people who are really exaggerating and jumping to conclusions. And so yeah, watch for impulsive behaviors, aggressive behaviors, temper flares, things like that, because Mercury will be conjuncting Jupiter, which will square Mars, and Mars, remember, is with Uranus. So it's bringing up a lot of like, don't tell me what to do. Why isn't it happening my way? And it's delays, it's frustrations. So as we move along, I'd like to look at the signs. What else did I have planned for you guys? Oh, okay. I had some dates for you. So Mercury retrograde, it's a time to review. It's a time to reflect. It's time to go back. It's time to go reassess. It's not a time to make any final decisions. It's not a time to sever any ties. It's not a time to sign important contracts. It's not a time to make any commitments. Now, I know a lot of people are like, yeah, but I'm starting to talk to this guy and I really like him. That's on you. You have a free will choice always. The stars are there to explain to you how patterns work. And if you find that it's important to start a new relationship at this time, then follow your heart, follow your gut. Hi, Tanya. And well, you know that at the end of the day, whatever you do has its repercussions. So maybe it'll be good, maybe it'll be bad. I don't know. There's always a purpose to why we start things up. But I'm just telling you based on what I know about Mercury retrograde, and it's just not a time to make, commitments like that. Because things are shifting constantly, especially in Aquarius. It's very unpredictable energy with Uranus there. So it's a time, it's the yin, like I was telling you guys, okay? It's the yin. We need this time to inhale, exhale, the ebbs and the flows. You really need to breathe in, breathe out. Okay, so it's a sacred pause. Retrogrades are sacred pauses. It's just a time to review, to reassess, to go within, figure things out. let's not jump into things too quickly in this time, during this time, especially February. February is really like crazy. So February 7th and 8th, you might get more clarity on something. So the Sun and Mercury are conjunct. So just, you know, take that down. If you're waiting for some clarity, for some information to come through during this time, you're waiting on, I don't know, someone to get back to you, a job, whatever the case may be. There's some form of clarity that comes through for you, you know, throughout that time. So give it a few days, February 7th and 8th. It's always approximate, you know, because time is an illusion, energy is fluid. So between February 7th, February 10th, around that time, beginning of February. February 10th, there will be a square to Mars, so expect feisty, explosive reactions from people. I don't know, yourself too. You got to take accountability where you stand too. Impulsiveness. So there's a lot of feistiness, a lot of explosiveness around February 10th. And then we have February 13th, 14th, wonderful day to have Valentine's Day. So there is a really nice supportive energy here between Mercury and Venus. Venus is the planet of relationships. Mercury is in retrograde though, but it's having a conversation with the Venus. So it's maybe you bringing some harmony and looking at, you know, both perspectives when it comes to having important conversations. Okay, so if there's an important conversation you need to have, I think during that time, February 13, 14 is more harmonious, okay? February 20th, Mercury will then go direct, will station direct, conjunct Saturn and square Uranus. Yeah, that's a big day, okay. So here we have decisions. You're supposed to be making a decision apparently during, you know, after the retrograde. So if you have to make a decision, then wait it out a little bit. But here it feels like the decisions that you were making, that you were about to make during retrograde are important. You're breaking free from something here after giving it some thought. So what are you breaking free from? This can be a behavior. This can be a habit. This can be you walking away from a pre-existing pattern or dynamic for the long term, because here we're you know, being squared by Saturn. Saturn wants things for the long term. So it's bringing you all these difficult conversations, these difficult decisions, so that you can face the elephant in the room once and for all and say, where are you going? Because Saturn will be in Aquarius for 2.5 years in that house in your chart. It's not going anywhere. And Saturn, if you know Saturn, he's really difficult. He's the teacher. He's the Lord of Karma. He brings a lot of heaviness and lessons and limitations in that aspect. And we can already feel it. So whatever is going on in your chart, you could already feel like, oh, Saturn is already trying to teach me some stuff. So the themes that you're going through now maybe will slowly dissipate by the end of February. Okay, so now it feels very intense because we're just at the beginning. There's going to be 5 planets in Aquarius, but by the end of February, beginning March, it'll feel a little bit lighter. But you need to address the elephant in the room. You need to have a conversation. There's some information that has to come through for you during this time. So here, with the full moon in Leo, you know, we're looking at Leo here is about our self-image. It's the aspect of our soul that wants to express itself. Like I said, it's the inner child. It wants to be loved. It wants to be adored. It wants to be witnessed. But here Aquarius plays the part that is our witness. So who, again, is witnessing you? Who is your audience? Who's your friends? Who's your community? Who is going to watch you express yourself? Okay? Saturn in Aquarius is about your friendships. Who plays an important role in your groups? Okay, because Saturn here, the people that you connect with here are going to be teachers during this time. It could be, a hard lesson that Saturn might bring, or a good lesson. So it's all about dropping the ego with Saturn's like, no, there's no more ego, there's no more tantrums. We are having you to take responsibility. So drop the ego that wants to control everything and take responsibility, make a decision, be mature about it. That's what Saturn is all about. But remember, we have 2.5 years to deal with this. So you have time, be compassionate towards yourself and be gentle, because you got to work with Saturn. It's not like, oh, Saturn, you motherfucker, why are you doing this to me? Why are you creating all these delays? You got to kind of work with it. So here we're asking, who are we associating ourselves with? Who are we connecting with? Does this person, does this group share the same values and visions as me? Do they resonate with me? So this can be in a relationship too, right? So again, when we look at this full moon, well, it's bringing a lot of unpredictability, weird, wacky energy. So let's look at some themes for each of the zodiac signs. So today I'm going to look at the themes that will be played out during the Mercury retrograde. But these themes will be also the same themes that will be playing out during the next 2.5 years, where Saturn will be transiting, because Saturn's going to stay there for 2.5 years. So we're going to start with Aries sun and rising. But I'm telling you, look at your rising more than your sun. But again, you'll have two perspectives. So is everyone following me? I'm sorry if I'm speaking really, really quickly, and I'll make you'll be able to go back to this at one point and re-listen, because I am going to take my time to go through all the 12 zodiac signs and what themes, what is showing up for you during the next few years. How are you all feeling? Give me some hearts. I'm not sure if I'm still here, if you guys still see me. Kristen, you had a question? Yeah, just write your questions in the icon down below, the question icon. Awesome. Okay, so rising in Aries sun and rising in Aries. The full moon here will be in your 5th house of Leo. Leo, 5th house, what does that mean? Romance, creativity, inner child, fun, warm-heartedness, playfulness, ego, drama, children. Maybe there's children involved here. So it's all about the heart chakra opening here. It's that yearning, being seen, being heard, by truly being open to put yourself out there, living your true authenticity, by creating something, by entertaining, by loving, by self-loving. You're reinforcing the power of creativity. Okay, so here you want to find a sense of fulfillment, something that brings you joy and meaning into your world. For some people, maybe this is you talking about having children, right? Because the 5th house is children. Again, if you're not having children, well, you're kind of having to face the fact that, oh my gosh, I have to address these inner child wounds. And how come I can't feel joy in my life? Because the inner child is not able to express itself and to feel itself. So how can I bring in more of that lightheartedness? So that's the axis, the opposite of what's happening for your Mercury retrograde. Your Mercury retrograde is going to happen in the opposite house of the 11th house of friendships, community, your soul tribe. So Mercury retrograding for the rising in Aries is all about reassessing, reviewing who you can trust in your social environment, who you can trust to assist you in making the most out of your opportunities that you get. Looking to your community, networking is going to be important, group projects, teamwork, looking at the role you play as a member of the team here too. You're also having to review and assess your hopes for the future. You're in the 11th house, you're focusing on future goals, future visions. You're also having to reshape your attitude towards making plans and also the strategies that you need to bring these things to fruition. But you're having to learn to work with people. So I'm an Aries sun. I definitely resonate with this a little bit. Mercury is going to be retrograding this particular house for the rising in Aries. But you see, as an Aries sun, I kind of resonate with this as well. So just, take it as it resonates. But do look for your rising as well. So when we go to Taurus, sun and rising, full moon is happening in your 4th house of home and family. Okay, so it's shining a spotlight on your home and family dynamics. It's bringing attention to the place you call home, right? So where's home? Where do you find a sense of belonging? Where do you feel safe? Where do you feel comfortable? The sense of the past also comes up with the 4th house. So maybe past stuff is also playing out for you at this time. You might feel more private at this time and feel the need to recharge your batteries and just, be within your own cocoon. It also brings a sense of pride, right, to your own home. You're finally like taking pride of where you live and how you feel comfortable. It's also bringing up the subconscious stuff. So everything that you've inherited from your family, past relationships with family, your lineage, all of that is coming up. Now, Mercury in retrograde will be in your 10th house of career, of achievement, vocation, authority figures, recognition for the work you're doing, the way you're being recognized by your bosses, by your clients, by your audience. It's also having to deal with authority figures in your life. So reassessing how you maybe seek credit from other people, what you need to do to put, like what work you need to do to put in to actually succeed in something. It's also looking at how you take charge and find leadership skills. So this is going back and saying, okay, well, I have to really see, am I being a leader? Am I being a follower? How am I, or am I shouldering all of this responsibility, right? Because the 10th house is heavy. It's, okay, now I really have to step up into this role of leadership. So yeah, you're having to learn to work with people who share a common goal and common values. So it's like, okay, I'm the leader, I'm in charge, but are people meeting me halfway, or are we going in different directions? So that's where the retrograde's happening, and that's where Saturn will be, transiting in the next few years for you guys, for Taurus, sun and rising. So then we move on to the Gemini, sun and rising. You guys, well, this full moon has been in your 3rd house of Gemini. So you guys are at home there, talking, socializing. There's a lot of mental stimulation. You're learning new stuff. You're absorbing new information. You're having a lot of conversations. You might have had conversations with a sibling because it's the house of siblings. And remember, Saturn is there for another 2.5 years. So these are things that might come up. We're only in January, so give it some time. Interaction and changes within your immediate environment, maybe in your neighborhood, your local environment. Maybe you've been feeling this push to be bold and express your thoughts, because the 3rd house is, how am I using my voice? How am I using my throat chakra to express myself and to learn and to teach? What else? So your Mercury retrograde here is happening. So that was the full moon, but the full moon is opposing all of this Aquarius. So I have to look at, what's opposing. So Mercury retrograde and Saturn will be in your 9th house of Sagittarius. So here you're having to reassess, maybe you're needing to seek a mentor, a guide, a teacher, right? That's the Sagittarius energy, to help you expand your mind and your immediate environment. Maybe like go outside of the immediate environment, seek help or seek mentorship outside of your local immediate environment. Perhaps you're reassessing your own teaching abilities, because this is very much in the house of teaching. Sagittarius, 9th house, that's education, it's travel, it's religion. It's also belief systems. So using your voice to teach something, exploring new territory, and opening yourself up to new opportunities. So you're not just sticking to your immediate environment, you're opening yourself up to different people, different experiences. So that's for my beautiful Geminis. The Cancers now, Cancer's sun and rising. So the full moon, guys, has been in your 2nd house of Taurus. So possession, money, finances, material possessions, what you hold on to. material security. It's also the house of self-esteem, self-worth, all these things that we hold on to in life. Is it because we need them to feel good about ourselves? Is that what makes us feel worthy? Okay, so this is what we're looking at in this full moon for you guys. With the opposition to the Aquarius energy in the 8th house. So here the second house was about, my income, my stuff, my possessions. How do I feel? How do I look at myself? How do I measure? How do these things measure my self-worth? But now this Mercury retrograde is kind of making you think about how you merge with other people, because you're in the 8th house of shared resources, shared finances, financial obligations. Maybe you owe money here, it deals with debts, with loans, and all the complexities here of shared finances here, the darker and hidden aspects also here. So we have intimacy, loss, crisis, the loss of power, the loss of control, the loss of money. There's also trust issues that can come up, secrets being revealed. It's challenging your personal control. It's also very deeply felt. It's a deeply felt house here. So going deep, doing the shadow work. There's power plays with other people. The deeper bonds that we form, suppressed emotions from the past may also come up. So here we're learning how to go deeper into the psyche, doing the shadow work. We're investigating, we're researching, we're going deep here. We're learning how to discern what is real and what is shadow. Clearing the air, right, of what we need. If we're in a committed relationship, we really need to learn how to merge. And in order to merge, I need to feel good about myself. Second house, opposite house here of Taurus. I need to feel worthy. So in the 8th house, it's dealing a lot about intimate stuff. It's things that we don't, share with the world. We go deeper. Who do you trust your money with, in your deepest secrets with? Who can you fully go deep with in relationships, right? This also deals with endings. Endings come new beginnings. So there's death, there's deaths, there's rebirths. And we're talking about internal death. It's a version of me has to die in order for this new life to come in. So that's why we have to stop seeing the word death as a bad thing, because I'm not the same version of who I was a year ago, or else I would be stagnated and I wouldn't even be here talking to you guys. So I embrace the word death. I need to go through many death and rebirths in my life in order to ascend to this newer version, a higher version of who I am aspiring to be. So also some experiences of disempowerment can come into play for you guys, I have to say. So where do you feel disempowered in these circumstances? So it's going to play out really differently for everybody. Leo sun and Leo rising. So the full moon has been in your 1st house of self-awareness, self-identity, self-expression, your outer personality, who you are, the mask that you wear, how you strike people, the first impressions that you give other people, your appearance too. You might feel like not so good about how you feel. Whenever the full moon is in the 1st house of appearance, it's like, oh, okay, I have to really pay attention to how I look because I'm not feeling so good. I'm emotionally attached to how I feel now. I'm being self-conscious here. But with the Mercury retrograde there, it's going to be accessing your 7th house of partnerships. So Mercury retrograde with 7th house, we're dealing with, relationships, one-to-one relationships, not only, marriage or boyfriend, girlfriend, or partners. It's maybe friends. It's one-to-one, dealing with, student-teacher relationship, employee-employer relationship, 2 friends. There's a lot that can play out here. So here you're having to reassess and reflect the role that you play in your relationships, how you over-identify with people in your relationships. So here your relationships are basically acting as a mirror, right? They're mirroring back what you need to acknowledge about yourself. So are you projecting your fear? Have you been projecting your fears, your insecurities onto others to feel better about yourself? you have to start learning how to take a bird's eye view here. So a different approach to what is unfolding in your relationships. There can be miscommunication. Again, Mercury retrograde, it brings up these glitches, but you need to have conversations sometimes so that we can figure out what the solution is. So miscommunication, misunderstandings, breakdowns in communication. Again, I'm repeating myself, but it's not a time to settle or sign any contracts, because in this house, this is where we get married. It's like contracts, it's legal stuff, it's alliances, it's people who are against us or for us. So, it's just not a good time to commit to anything. It's just a really good time to reflect and go back and reassess and maybe have a conversation if we need to. So that's going to be happening for you guys. Virgo, Sun and Virgo rising. Your full moon is in the 12th house. So, the 12th house is about spirituality. It's also the place where we go and retreat and escape. And we start having all these addictions, and we start feeling isolated from the world. And it's really about our mental health also with the 12th house. It's also about our past lives and the karma that we owe in this life and the lessons that we signed up for, the lessons that we promised. We promised the universe, we promised our soul that we would learn. But here Mercury is retrograding in the opposite house of health, well-being. So you're having to look at maybe even work stuff, how you're of service to other people. Your day-to-day stuff is coming into play big time with Virgo risings. And I'm a Virgo rising, so I know exactly what this feels like. So it's like we're having to look at, okay, well, what's my schedule? I have to constantly reprioritize, and I always have to change my schedule, and my routine has to change too. And there's always like this maintenance that has to be done when we're dealing with stuff in the 6th house. So we have work to be done, we have stuff to do because we want to put bread on the table, but at the same time we need to keep our mind and our body and our soul in alignment. So it's a lot of maintenance in that 6th house. I'm definitely feeling it. So you're needing to make these adjustments, to improve your day-to-day reality. Your attitude towards work also might change. It might be revealed here. And physical health is important. Again, it's the daily maintenance. How are we keeping up? Are we taking time to ground? Are we taking time to hydrate? Are we taking time to do things so that, okay, we're in alignment? We're not just serving, because the 6th house is the 6th house of Virgo. And it's all about serving, but I can't be of service if I'm not giving back to myself. And, well, probably there might be some issues here with other people, the people that you work with here, reassessing how you work with others, how you can be of service to them. Are you trying new ways to serve others? Maybe your job here needs to be reevaluated. Reassessing the way your daily routine unfolds, your schedule might need to change, cleaning up, right? 6th house. So a lot of people feel they need to clean up. Okay, time to clean up, or time to reconfigure our schedule and the stuff that we do. So that's going to come up for us big time the next few years. And I already feel it, where it's like Saturn's like, how about you take a break now and go for a walk? And you're like, well, I don't really want to go for a walk. I have stuff to do. And it's very like, no, you need to get stuff done, or you need to sleep a little bit more because your health is on the line here because you're always working. So it's balance. That's what's coming up for us. Libra sun, Libra rising. So you guys, your full moon today in Leo is in the 11th house of friendships, community, your soul tribe. It's where we share space and time with others and create a social circle of friends and acquaintances. So here we're looking at, okay, we have these friends and this platform or this audience, but now Mercury is retrograding in your 5th house of Leo, which is, so here it's asking you what connections or group of friends or acquaintances allow you to shine. So that's why I was singing that song from Rihanna at the beginning. Are they allowing you to shine bright, or are they dimming your light and saying, well, no, you can't express yourself. You can't be a light. Who are you? So are you allowing to be yourself? That's what Mercury is gonna, really ask you during this time. What connections, community brings out the part of you that feels inspired and creative and playful? You're here to inspire people. You're here to make a difference. So if people or friends or acquaintances make you feel unappreciated or not seen, you're going to have to look back at that. So you're having to look back at who and what makes you feel acknowledged, what makes you feel different. You want to feel special, valued, right, in your romantic connections. So we have to pay attention to that. Also people from the past. So looking back at a friend or a group that you counted up from the past here also can play out for Libra risings. Romance might grow out of a friendship and favor open honesty, right? So it's looking back. Did I count out someone that was maybe someone that was a good person, and maybe I'm going to look back and see maybe that person, we kind of could hit it off, right? So that's what's happening here. It's all in the 5th house, and it's a beautiful house. It's the house of Leo, romance, play. But the lower side to that is we're taking a lot of risks. It's the house where we can gamble a lot, and it's overindulgence, and it's like too much fun, too much play, too much this, too much sex, too much, it's a lot. It's where we connect on a sexual level with our romantic partners. It's the dating house. It's like, okay, we need to have that physical and sexual attraction and form that bond and make sure, are we good friends though first? Because the opposite house is the friendship house, right? The 11th house. So that's the foundation maybe that you're going to have to look at here in the next few years. And then we have Scorpio, our beautiful Scorpio, sun and rising, right? So the full moon is happening in the 10th house of career, vocation, your public image, sharing what we do for a living with the world, right? And it's our role really in the wider spectrum. So we're here to achieve and succeed in this house. So maybe that's been coming up for the Scorpio risings. It also represents authority figures. So people like our parents, grandparents, employers. And it also brings up themes around how you take charge. How are you developing those leadership skills from within? Probably they're based on how your parents took charge, because it's the opposing sign or the opposing house to the 4th house of Cancer, which is the home, right? Our parents, our family. So here Mercury retrograde is in the 4th house of family. Reassessing the way your intergenerational wounds have played a role in your inability to feel your emotions. Because this house is the house of Cancer, and Cancer is all about feeling our emotions, accessing that part of ourselves that maybe we blocked off because we were taught that, basically. We were conditioned to do that. Here in this house, you're going to be unburdening from emotional restrictions. So how can you really unburden from these restrictions, these shackles that you placed upon yourself on an emotional level, where you've been holding yourself back out of fear that it might burden other people. I can't put too much emotions. I can't talk about my emotions because it burdens other people. That's what's coming up for the Scorpios, Scorpio risings especially. And family stuff, a lot of family dynamic stuff, or if nothing in the family is really going on in the next few years, it's about you healing the ancestral wounds, the generational patterns that keep coming up. Because in the 4th house, if you're a Scorpio rising, it's in Aquarius. And I'm talking about all this Aquarius energy. Aquarius for me says your family might have been a little bit detached from their emotions. So now you are coming in and saying, okay, now I'm going to break this pattern, this generational pattern, and I'm going to reparent my inner child. Because as a child, maybe I wasn't able to access that lightheartedness, that warmth that I desperately needed as a child, right? So you're learning how to find a place to call home, and that's within yourself, the Scorpio risings. Home is where the heart is, right? So Sagittarius, sun and rising. How are you guys doing? I know it's a lot of information. My Sagittarius sun and risings, especially here. So again, the full moon is shining a light on your 9th house of belief systems, your ideals, the religious beliefs, It's a place where we seek answers here, right? To life's big questions. It's where we want to broaden our horizons. It's about the journey. It's about the experience. It's about wisdom. We're gaining all this wisdom and all this knowledge. But now, with Mercury retrograding in your opposite house of Gemini, the third house. So here you'll be forced to reevaluate how you interact with others in your immediate environment. So maybe some of you are like, ugh, my immediate environment sucks. I really have a hard time interacting with people from my immediate environment. You'll be forced to really learn lessons about how you have to change your communication style and skills. The third house is all about communication. It also starts with how you communicated, like the relationship you had with your siblings. Siblings can also come up in the next few years for you guys. So yeah, that's not an easy thing, but the communication really stems from those wounds with your siblings. So is there an unhealthy pattern here? You know, are you asking enough questions? Are you just forming or jumping to your own conclusions? Because Sagittarius energy, I mean, I love Sagittarians, but that energy is, well, I know everything, right? It's very dogmatic. It has all this knowledge. When you talk to Sag people, they're like so knowledgeable in so many different areas of life. You can talk to them all day, but then it's like, okay, but come back. You need to learn something, because Saturn being in your third house is like, I think you need to learn a little bit. I think you're going to be more of a student in the next few years, but it's okay. We're always going back and forth from being a student and a teacher in life, right? So it's creating that balance of how am I being too dogmatic and too stubborn and you know, pretending like I know everything and I'm showing that it's my way or the highway. I have to be a little bit more lenient, and I have to understand, and I have to explore territory that maybe is just boring to me, but I have to. I don't have a choice. So that's what's going on for you guys. And yeah, I feel like a lot of you will have to, there'll be some tests around that. You'll have to really commit to learning more about what you don't know. You don't know it all. Unfortunately, you're still learning. And it's maybe through your immediate environment. That's what's going to be showing up for you in the next few years. Then we have our beautiful Capricorn sun and rising. Your full moon has been happening in the 8th house of Scorpio. So that's a hard aspect and a hard house here, because it's all about going deep and trust issues come up and commitments. Are you fully, willing to commit to something? Remember, here when we're dealing with relationships, 8th house, it's like, I really need to commit on an intimate level here. We're not only merging finances, but we're really, our shadow and our light aspects are merging. Are we ready to look at ourselves now? So there's a lot of, for you guys, reassessing. There's a lot of fluctuating moods for you guys in the 8th house here. Power struggles, forced to heal emotional wounds, ups and downs in your shared finances through your partnership. So this is the full moon. But then we are looking at the opposite sign here. So Mercury retrograde in Aquarius in your 2nd house of finances is being targeted. So again, we're dealing with self-worth. You're looking at your self-worth issues, your self-esteem issues. What are you holding on to? Material security comes up. You're reassessing the way you've been holding on to something. You've been holding on to something because it's the house of Taurus. Taurus likes to hold on to stuff out of fear of losing something, right? Something so it's the physical, the material, or the emotional security that thing or that person or that whatever brings to you. Is there a way for you to cultivate security and safety within yourself without having to hold on to certain things in your life? It feels like you're going to have to let go of something here. So Aquarius, sun and rising in full moon was in your 7th house of partnerships, relationships, one-on-one relationships, alliances, conflicts, legal matters, marriage. So you might have been dealing with some disagreements here, either with a boss or a friend or a boyfriend, a partner, a mother-in-law, father-in-law, you get it. Mercury retrograde is in your 1st house. So that's the opposite house. So we have relationships, and now we have me, 1st house. So now we're having to reassess the way you haven't been maybe totally your true authentic self in your relationships and friendships and relationships with your coworkers and your bosses. Maybe you haven't been really setting the proper boundaries, so it's looking at the, the boundary setting here. Maybe you've been able to have you been able to fully express yourself in your relationships? Because first house is, it's me, this is me, I have to be authentic, I'm using my voice. Are you allowing others to dictate and tell you how you should be and how you should live your life and how you should use your voice? You're having to also look at how much trust you put into people instead of your own. So, before going through spiritual awakening, you'll notice that you had this tendency to trust others more than your own self. This is, I think, a theme that's going to come up for the Aquarius risings and the sun as well. So it's like, have you been neglecting the ways you've been neglecting and compromising yourself in relationships is going to be played out in the next few weeks. And Saturn there is going to make sure that you learn that lesson. Pisces, sun and rising. Last but not least, full moon in the 6th house, which is the house of work, of daily routines, of our health, of our alignment with our soul. It's the alignment of the body, the body, mind, and soul. But now you see Mercury retrograde is in your 12th house. So you're having to look at how have you been spending your time healing yourself first and foremost. So the 6th house, you're paying attention to everybody, you're being of service to everybody, you're work. It's the routines, right? But now it's like, okay, now I really got to look back. The 12th house is where there's a lot of undoing. It's the wounds from past lives. It's where we self-sacrifice. It's where we escape. It's where we, get into addictions like drugs and alcohol. And it's where we become a martyr and we feel alone. So this is where you have to be careful and say, how am I self-sabotaging myself here? How am I sabotaging my health and my daily reality is being compromised as a result. So it's the house where we connect to our higher self too. So it's very, very important for Pisces. And I'm going to finish with this because it's so, so important for them to know this, that if they don't tune in to the higher realms, to their guides, to spirit, if they don't become a little bit more spiritual this year, it's going to be very depressing for the Pisces. They really need to tune in with God, with their connection to their higher self a little bit more. They need to learn how to let go about certain things. They need to learn how to, surrender. Surrender means I'm leaning on faith and a higher power to take care of me, because I realize that I cannot do this alone. I can't go about this alone. If I think that that no one wants to help me, well, that's an issue. So we're not meant to live our life self-sacrificing. This is what you'll have to learn in the next few years, because by doing that, you just suffer. There's a lot of suffering that goes into the 12th house, and it's a lot of karmic debts. So you're also feeling like, oh my God, I'm replaying, things from the past, and everything that's going on in your life, is basically karmic patterns, things that you've already done in past lives that now are being brought to the surface so that you can really say, okay, I have to really face this because maybe I went through some childhood trauma there and I really need to acknowledge stuff that, that happened. It's a lot of purging too in the 12th house. So it's the undoing, it's the healing, it's the stuff that we go to therapy for. The 12th house, whenever I have clients that have a lot of planets in this 12th house, I highly encourage them to seek a therapist or a coach or someone who can help them talk about their problems or about what's going on internally, because the 12th house is where we repress. It's where we don't acknowledge those wounds. So it's really about that, finding people who you can connect with, or a therapist or a coach or a guide or something that helps you connect with yourself on a more spiritual realm, on a more spiritual level, because staying in the meat suit, staying in the muggle body is going to feel like crap. And so that's why it's really important to really learn the lesson by, okay, now I'm paying too much attention to others with the 6th house. Now I really need to come back and connect. because now I really need to address what's going on. So Pisces, I have to say, is the sign that is, I think, having to go through the hardest themes in the next few years, if they're not able to connect with their guides, with their spiritual side. If it's completely shut down and they're really closed off from healing, they're going to hit a wall in the next few years. And it's maybe it has to go that way, right? So if you know anybody who's a Pisces rising, really encourage them to lean on their guides, lean on God, lean on the universe, lean on practices that help them connect, that help them feel like they're not alone, So you guys, I went through all the 12 signs for you guys. If you have any questions, let me know. Thank you guys for being here with me. It's been awesome. Hey Misty, hey Romy, hey Jen, hey Cindy. Yes, I will save this video, Solcita, for sure. I'm just praying that it's gonna go through and I'm gonna be able to save it. And yeah, you can always come back, because again, these are themes that are gonna be replaying, they're unfolding in 2021 and 2022 and a bit of 2023. So if you guys need a personal chart reading where now we're diving deeper into your patterns on what's coming up and really addressing your blind spots, the places in your chart or in your soul, in your soul's journey now, where you're like, okay, I just need some clarification, some confirmation that this what's going on here? Like, why is it that I keep repeating this pattern? Why is it that things are not moving forward? Like, who am I? What am I doing? What kind of relationships would serve me? Because the chart tells you that. The chart tells you, maybe you should be leaning towards this type of an energy. And what does that energy look like on a higher and lower expression? Because we have all the 12 zodiac signs in our chart. Like I said, I just mentioned the Aquarius. That's Aquarius energy that's playing out in your chart. But it's, how do I use it to bring out the highest vibration, the highest qualities? And if you don't know that, then it's hard for you. So it's when we're talking about these higher and lower expressions during our client session, that's when you're like, oh, okay, that's why I've been so caught up in codependency, because I'm leaning more towards the lower vibration of that sign. So how do I get to the higher vibration? What changes do I need to make to get to the higher vibration? So everything is on my link tree in my bio if you guys want to book a personal birth chart reading. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, I'll be here for the next few minutes. And yeah, so you guys, thank you so much. How are you guys doing? Was that a lot? It's a lot of information. That's why I said, like, you have to be ready, because it's just, the cosmos is filled with stuff to say. Hey, Misty. So I officially lost my voice. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, you're very welcome, Shakira. It's been a pleasure. If you guys need a personal card reading as well, you guys know where to find me. I'm always here on Instagram. And I will be coming live with one of my friends, and we're going to try to tap into the energies of the masculine and the feminine. People who are coming into union, we want to tap into those energies. So I don't like to call myself a twin flame reader. I don't like the labels, because I feel like I pick up a lot of energies from different groups, and not every group is twin flame. Not every group is soulmate. Every group is different. We're all dealing with a bit of karmic partners here and there. But we want to really tap into the divine counterparts. And in order to be in alignment with our divine counterpart, we need to know, okay, so where are we not in alignment? Because if I'm not in alignment, then he'll definitely not be in alignment. So how do we understand where are we at now in our energies? Because all these Aquarian energies are allowing people to really like get those downloads and say, okay, I need to make changes for, because inside of them, they feel like they need to make a better place in this world. I need to change myself. And Aquarius is all about making changes, evolving. Society needs to evolve. We need to have progress in this world. So in order to progress, well, we need to go within a little bit and see what's going on. So maybe we'll be doing that this week or maybe next week. We still have to talk about it, and we'll look into the masculine and the feminine energies and see what we can come up with, what spirit allows us to tap into. So you guys, thank you so much for being here with me. If you guys don't have any questions, I don't think I see any here. Nope, no questions. Let me know if you need support, if you need a reading from me. I'm always available. And I'm wishing you guys a beautiful, beautiful end of the full moon in Leo evening tonight with me. Thank you so much for being here with me. It was a pleasure, and I'll see you very, very soon. Take care.